And now, joining us live from Boston, Massachusetts, and Tucson, Arizona, it's Claire Hollenbeck and Amber Russell.
Hey, welcome to JamPlay Live. I'm Claire from JamPlay, and we're here with Amber Russell. Amber, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you, Claire? Nice to see you.
Great to see you too. Where are you broadcasting from?
I'm currently in Tucson, Arizona. Been here for a couple months, just doing the snowbird thing.
Excellent, excellent. I hear you're living out of your RV. That sounds very fun.
Yeah, it is. It's actually a lot of fun, especially if you have to be quarantined. It's nice to be quarantined in different places, so you can quarantine around the country.
Yes, no TSA involved, no screeners or anything. So listen,
Exactly.
we're gonna hang out with. We're hanging out with Amber tonight. We're going to be giving away some stuff, listening to her awesome music, and also she's going to teach us part of a song, one of her tracks, later in the show. But first, we're going to listen to her tune called "Florida Thunder." And Amber, do you just want to set up this track for us?
Yeah, Florida Thunder. I wrote it in Florida during a thunderstorm, and I was trying to create a song that kind of sounded like a thunderstorm. And I was playing with the new tuning, so it was easier to create because it was an unfamiliar tuning, and it had some stank to it. So I don't know, Florida Thunder just felt right, and I went with it, and I was really happy with how the song turned out.
Great. All right, Florida Thunder by Amber Russell. us about
Right.
Florida Thunder. Tell us about that tune we just heard.
Yeah, so my song Florida Thunder, I love that song. It kind of brings out a little bit of like my metal history from back in the day when I used to listen to a lot of metal. And it was also a tuning I hadn't used before. So I was exploring a new tuning, and I was on tour a couple years ago, and I was in Florida at the time. And I wanted something that would express a thunderstorm, because if you've been to Florida, you know how the weather can be. It's bright and sunny, and then when just one single cloud hovers over you, it's not just like raining, it's dumping on you. It's brutal, actually. And then the sun comes back out. So whenever there is a storm, it's not just like a light rain that happens all day. It's like brutality, and then the sun comes back. So I decided to try to like implement that in a song.
Yeah. Well, it really comes through, that expressiveness. So let me also just tell everybody a little bit about the show that we're going to be doing. So we're hanging out with Amber. Obviously, we're going to be hearing some more music from her, and we're going to be giving some stuff away, and including some JamPlay Pro memberships. And then later in the show, Amber is actually going to teach us one of her tunes, and it's in a particular tuning. So we're going to put the tuning up on the screen in case you want to grab your guitar till later, for later. But Amber, tell us a little bit about, your style, so unique. Tell us a little bit about how you started and how you came to have the style that you do right now.
So I always had an affinity with acoustic guitar. It resonated more with me, even when I was listening to a lot more metal music and heavier stuff. I was a singer-songwriter, and my struggle, the thing that was consistent, was having consistent band members, and it was a bit of a battle. And I felt like I was singing because somebody needed to sing, and I just I can sing, but I didn't want to sing. And when I found out about fingerstyle, it was like I could do this. I could do the whole band by myself, and I don't have to rely on anyone else necessarily. And I can also be a full musician without the obligations of writing lyrics and singing, and because each factor in songwriting is stressful. Whether it's you might have a beautiful voice, but maybe you aren't as creative with poetry and writing music. And all I ever really wanted to do was just play guitar. And I also had never had guitar lessons, so seeing this weird, unique style of playing, I really wanted to dive into it so I could express myself without feeling insecure, because I don't know the blues. I don't know, a lot of very specific genres that have very specific scales and ways of playing. And this was something that was kind of new to me. It's been around for a while, but the time of YouTube really introduced us to fingerstyle because it's very visual. So once YouTube happened, more people learned about some of these artists that do fingerstyle. And I'd say I watched Annie McKee's video Drifting, like we all did, for years, thinking I could never do that. And a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I learned the percussion part of Drifting," and he showed me, and I was like, I have to learn this now, because now I know just the simple percussion part. And once I had that, I was like ambitious about learning the rest of the song. And after that, I never put my guitar back in standard tuning.
That's great. Well, so, when you teach us a little bit later one of your tunes, I've also watched a lot of your course that we have on JamPlay, of course. And what you do is you're able to break things down that seem impossible. So they're actually really achievable. And I love the fact that one of the reasons that you have for making the course you did, it's called Tapping into Creativity. It's really to help people with their own creativity. So taking a risk, for example, being in a different tuning is a risk, potentially. And so it seemed like you really were starting based on that kind of Annie McKee video. And how did you come to the tunings that you have? Because they're kind of Amber tunings,
Yeah. So I started with Dadgad. It's the first transitional tuning people use, I think, when they're getting out of standard tuning. And I fumbled with that for a while. And then Adrian Belew referred the book Zen Guitar. And I'd heard that book from a lot of people that were in the fingerstyle community. And I'm like, I have to check this out. And the book doesn't teach you chords or anything like that. It's all about like your state of mind and in like a dojo in a sense. And they have all these fun quotes from other famous musicians and artists throughout the years. And there was this quote by Joni Mitchell, who plays in a lot of strange tunings that she wrote herself. And she was like, I like to twiddle my keys and leave it to the cosmos. And after I read that, I was like, I'm going to do that right now. So I threw my guitar into a really just funky tuning. And then I went through with each string and without using a tuner, like went through and found something that I was like, I like the way this sounds. And then I applied the tuner later to fine tune the notes, because they obviously, I don't have perfect pitch. So, it wasn't exactly a D or an F sharp. I had to go in and perfect it from there. But that's how it started, is a tuning that I've never heard. And then later I'm finding out, my friends are like, oh, that's a D major seventh. I'm like, cool. I didn't know. I thought I wrote it. I did. It's a D major seventh. So, and it was just being exploratory and approaching it with new eyes and from a place of being completely unfamiliar.
Yeah. That's great. Hey, so listen, tell us about, we're gonna lead into your next tune called Portland Dance, and tell us about busking in Portland. There are a lot of stories about you on that scene, busking. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I love busking, and I think no matter if you're a brand new musician or you just know one song or you've been playing on stages and theaters for years, everyone's a bit scared of busking because there's this one vision of it, it's maybe you're homeless. I don't want people to think I'm homeless. But I do want to play music for people. But that's not really what ends up happening. The goal is to create this environment in public, and you're engaging with people in a new way. It's not about making money. I mean, we all want to make money. It's nice to make some money, but it's not about that. It's about putting your music out there. And I learned a lot from doing that because I had a problem with eye contact. So I would just stare at the ground and look at people's feet. And I could tell by their feet motion if they were sticking around or they were bored by a certain part. But I would play these certain songs in certain parts, and I would see this like in my surrounding area, all these feet stop. And I'm like, so that was what captivated them. So I don't know, it was a learning experience even through my own music, like knowing what captured someone, and maybe I should work on stuff like that more, whether it's percussion or a harmonic or a rhythm or something. But busking,
interesting.
I miss
Follow the feet. Sounds like follow the feet.
Yeah, follow the feet. Yeah, I used to wear a hat. People who've known me for a long time, there were like years that I just wore this hat, and that hat was like my safety blanket kind of. I would wear it on stage, and then it was nice because I'd get off stage and I'd take off the hat, and then nobody knew I would ever played that day, so I wasn't like bombarded or asked too many questions. And the hat was also nice because I felt like it made people, when I'd be busking, I wouldn't see people's faces, and it would make them feel more comfortable about watching me, because I feel like some people were afraid to stop and watch because they were afraid that they had to pay me. And if I never looked up at them, there was never an obligation, and they can make that choice on their own. But I always kept it just level enough to like make eye contact with children because they're adorable, and to see them captivated, I don't know, I would always just perk my hat up just enough to see the faces of the kids or something, and then they'd like hide behind their mom's leg or something.
All right, so actually we're going to save Portland Dance, and we're going to go next to Battle for the Innocent. So can you tell us about this? What we're going to be hearing now?
Battle for the Innocent. This is a fun tune. I have some really great lessons on JamPlay for this tune. This isn't the one I'm going to be doing lessons today on because you need a banjo capo, and I understand most people don't have banjo capos, and usually guitar players don't have banjo capos because it's meant for a banjo. But I love this tune because I got to implement percussion and harmonics and just use a banjo capo in a way that it's not often utilized. And it was just adding a toy to a new realm I have no idea about. And it's definitely a fun tool. I have a few songs with the banjo capo, but
yeah, tell us more
Battle
about
of the
the
Instruments.
banjo capo for people who want to try out the banjo capo.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about
So
that.
I used to call it a partial capo. I learned that's not a partial capo.
Mhm.
It's a banjo capo. It's going to cover 4 of the 1 through 4 strings, and then 5 and 6 is left open, which are the lower notes. And that allows me, with the tuning I use it in, the 4 strings that are being barred by the capo already make a beautiful chord. So you don't have to do anything with those strings if you don't want to. And then you can have a nice strong bass line with the 2 open strings on the other side of the capo. So it looks crazy to people because they see my hand going back and forth in the capo. And if you know how a regular capo works, you can't play anything on the back end of a capo. So when people don't realize my capo is not a full capo, they're like, how are you playing on the other side? And I'm like, oh, it's a banjo capo because it's keeping the 2 bottom strings open. But I use G7th capos. They've been really good to me, and they're really slender and nice to look at. And I've had a lot of luck with my G7th capo. I really like their product, and yeah, I will definitely just always use their banjo capo. It does. The reason I don't use shub anymore is the shubs used to put real strong indentures in the back of the neck because they were like, I couldn't really find that sweet spot between too loose and too tight. You need it tight enough to hold the notes, but it would always just leave these indentures in the back of the guitar neck, and that kind of bothered me. So the G7th is much safer for your instrument. And I have a really nice guitar that I love, and I don't want to puncture it. So I use the G7. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, let's hear Battle for the Innocent by Amber Russell.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Hey, that was Amber Russell. Amber Russell, and we're back. That was Battle for the Innocent. Hey, so Amber, we have a big audience on the line. We have a lot of great questions coming in, and we're going to take 1 sec. We're going to do some giveaways. We got 2 T-shirts going out tonight, and the producers have drawn names from the Magic Hat, and we have a T-shirt going out to Mark Latuso and to Lisa Robinson. Congratulations to both of you for those JamPlay T-shirts. Ooh. And listen, we got a lot of great questions coming in. A lot of people who are loving your music and wondering about how, your composition process and what comes first. You mentioned you've gone to fingerstyle in part because you didn't want to be the singer writing a melody. How does the melody factor into your compositions now? Do you think of that line first, or do you think of rhythm? How does it come together?
Usually, I have to be mentally prepared most of the time to be writing a song. Like, I wasn't in the process of playing an old song and then wrote a new song. Usually I'm like, okay, I'm going to create, and I have to decide, am I going to use a tuning I already know or a new tuning? And a lot of times it's a new tuning, and I just start slapping it around until I find a note or a phrasing that I'm interested in, and then I roll with that. And I know a lot of people have different processes for writing, and sometimes it can be difficult trying to figure out where to start and where to go. For me, it just starts with a riff, and I loop it over and over and over again. And I figure out, where can I go next? How can I break the loop and find a bridge to get to the next part? And then it's usually about halfway through the song where my idea for the energy of this song comes from. Like, I don't think I'm going to write a song about running in the grass, like that comes with the visuals after the song is already being developed. And sometimes it could just be a drum beat. I might hear a fun, spunky beat and play it on a loop and try to write something with that beat. It all depends on where my starter point is and what I'm trying to make happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that you just gave some very cool ways, maybe suggestions to other folks out there who are wanting to write their own music. It sounds like you're finding inspiration from a variety of sources, whether it's your tuning or using the banjo capo, or finding a pattern that you like and continuing to do it. Do you have any other kind of advice for people who are trying to compose their own music, where to start?
Another thing is also really narrowing down about what you want to execute. Like, you go to your favorite artist, and for me, it's a lot of fingerstyle artists. Like, I'm like, man, the way he uses his thumb, I want to be better at using my thumb. So I'll find a song and try to make something similar to that song, so that I'm doing that thing I want to improve on. Like, I learned the Trace Bundy song "Dueling Ninjas" to improve my hammer-ons, and that's why I utilize a lot of hammer-ons. Like, up until recently, because of COVID, I haven't been as disciplined in playing as much guitar. And I'm noticing recently, like, hammer-ons are hard. I thought like they were a lot easier than they were. Like, they just seemed so easy to me because I've been doing them for a long time, but being a little bit out of practice, hammer-ons are not easy. Like, I'm thinking about going down to a lighter gauge on my guitar strings because it's not as easy as I remembered it being. But a friend of mine gave me advice one time about, it was when I was a singer-songwriter, and I just hit a writer's block, and I felt like every song I was writing, the goal was to make it different from the other one. So all my songs don't sound the same. And I feel like that's every artist's goal, is you don't want all of your music to sound the same, because it's easy to go back to these familiar chords and familiar notes. And one way to break away from that is playing in tunings you've never played in, because you have no familiar place to fall back on. But I was seeking advice from a musician friend, and he was like, well, what are you listening to right now? Because that changes for me monthly. Like, I might be listening to world music or jazz or instrumental, like piano pieces or something. And he's like, well, whatever it is that you are focused on now and that you're just bumping in your radio, try to try to create from that. So that was really good advice, because it's like, yeah, why not try to play something like the stuff that I like right now? Even if it's pop music, like try to take what it is about that pop song you like and make it your own. That's not copying. That's not stealing. That's just finding inspiration through other people's music. And that's an important thing to do. Like if you're only obsessed with your own music, you're not going to grow anywhere. You need something to feed your fountain to, you know, help you find that flow and create.
Yeah, great. Hey, so we have a question on the line from Erin, and she's wondering about if you play any of your music on other than 6-string guitar. So you do play 12-string guitar. Somebody in the chat, she also mentions, for instance, some of the melodies might be nice on violin as well. So she was just wondering about other instruments you've tried.
So I've never tried the violin, and I've had dreams of me playing the violin. Like since I was a child, that was actually like the instrument I was really passionate about. It just never happened for me. I love the violin. I feel like it is the best to execute the sound of a human voice, and it just wails. So I've jammed with some violin players, and I don't know if someone's good or bad at violin. It's such a beautiful instrument. I would jam with anyone who plays violin. And I feel like the music goes really well with my music. I do love the violin, but I have no experience with the violin. I do have a harp guitar. Since I'm currently doing the RV life thing, I didn't bring the harp guitar with me because it's just too dangerous and it's too fragile of an instrument to me. I'm in the desert, and you know, I can't bring all my instruments with me. So currently a friend of mine is borrowing it, who is a fingerstyle artist. And I just thought, you know, one of my friends who I trust with the instrument that might learn how to play it, because you can't learn any instrument that you don't own. You know, you can dabble with your friend's banjo, but if you don't own a banjo, you're never going to play banjo. You have to have one.
Right.
So I've just let a friend borrow it while I'm not able to play it. And yeah, so it's primarily guitar for me. I used to play harmonica, and I had a foot tambourine, and I'll play whatever instrument you put in my hands. I don't know how, but I would play with it and figure it out. Just like the same approach to open tune or alternate tunings. You know, you don't know what's happening until you start fiddling around.
Right. You take a risk, something great comes out of it, and and that's how you go. Great. Yeah. Let me see. So we have some other questions on the line, and I'm wondering with our producers, do we have Portland Dance, or should we go to the next track? Okay. All right. I've heard from the voice of the producers. Oh, and they've said go to the next track. So we're going to go, and we're going to hear your track, Love versus Logic. And actually, I think
I'm
you're
doing that one live.
Live.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Now's the moment of truth.
Yeah, here we go. So this is also in the same tuning that the lesson we're going to be doing later is in, if anybody's curious. So if you like this song and you learn a little bit of the other song.
Put the tuning up for everybody. Nice. Amber Russell. All right. Amber Russell,
All
Love
right.
versus Logic. That was great. That was great.
Thank you.
Hey, so you were mentioning, you're mentioning that when you're not kind of actively working on tapping, you come back to it and you're like, oh, tapping is hard. What gauge of strings do you use, just so we can know?
I use 13s, Elixir Nano Web. Excuse me. They're the most expensive strings, so it's like hard on me sometimes, but I change them less, especially right now since I'm not performing so much, because like a lot of the guys I know, they change strings before every show, and it's like I can't afford to do that. And Elixir
Right.
strings do last longer, and they don't snap as often for me. But 13s, I've always liked it's a medium gauge basically. It gives me the good hefty bass realm, and the highs aren't too twangy, because I don't really like the really light twangy sound. So yeah, I use 13s.
Yep. Cool. And do you set your action? Do you have the action set higher, or
Yeah,
is it like custom
no,
for you?
the action is very low. I like it low, and the reason for that is when I'm doing tapping or harmonics or anything, I don't have as much of a distance to go for the string and my finger to meet the fretboard. If it was really a higher action, it would be a much further way to go on my fingers, and it would be crazy. I think my fingers would probably get stuck in between the strings or something, because I'm not playing it the way that is traditional. So yeah, low action for sure.
Okay, that's good advice. And I just want to mention that you have the course on JamPlay called Tapping into Creativity. And we've talked about some different aspects that you explore in the course, including helping people to kind of tap into their own creativity by using some open tunings, exploring some techniques. Can you tell a little bit more about the course? And then we actually have somebody who's taken the course who sent us a clip, who wanted to share his thoughts with you.
Yeah. You're doing that now? I'm answering a question,
well,
right?
I thought if you want to just like, what's the kind of a little description of the course in your words.
So I did the course a couple years ago, and I'm trying to jog my memory as well as I can. But what I remember is my approach to the course was just to be very vulnerable and humble, to let people feel comfortable trying this new scary realm of music. And let me think. I'm having a brain fart. What was I going to say?
That's okay, because I have it here, and I took it this morning, so I went through it, and really what struck me is how, even though watching you, listening to you, the playing is of course amazing, you break it down so nicely in this course, so people can definitely achieve some of the techniques that you do. And in fact, there is a JamPlay member was so excited. This isn't a plant. We didn't ask him to do this. He simply made a video that we're going to show you. His name is Tupac, and he's listened to what he says about this course.
Hello, my name is Tupac, and I am from Argentina, so sorry in advance for my accent. I found Amber Russell's course by chance, as I hadn't really heard of her before, but decided to give it a shot as I was very interested on the topics covered on the course. I have always been an electric guitar player, but I've been feeling intrigued by this world of the percussive fingerstyle acoustic guitar. But also it's a style that scared me, that intimidated me as a player, as it seemed like a completely different world from what I knew. But with the help of the resources and the step-by-step breakdowns provided by Amber on every lesson, I was able to quickly learn loads and loads of licks, techniques and concepts to apply in my own playing. Some of the lessons are challenging, as I am still learning, but by playing along to the practice sessions, I am able to quickly progress, and suddenly I feel so rewarded when I am able to actually play these pieces that seem impossible to even tackle before. So all in all, I am very, very grateful for Amber Russell and JamPlay for releasing this course. And I encourage everyone to try it, and also to check her music, as it's really, really awesome. Also a bit of a shameless plug, but to also serve you as a means to know that I am a real person giving my honest review on this. You can check my IG, my Insta, which is tupaquinho.ar. You can ask me any question over there and see some of the latest posts that I have recently made, actually playing some of the tricks I have learned with the course. See you, have fun, and keep practicing.
Hey, so I know that this seems like we just totally set that up, but actually that's a real person, Tupac, who was inspired by Amber and sent us that video. And I think it's a testimonial to what you do in the course, that you not only are inspiring, but you're actually putting some of these techniques in the hands of, mortal players like the rest of us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I haven't met him. I mean, he's in Argentina, but he has posted a few great videos of him learning my songs, and that's just so exciting to see somebody actually play my music, and he's like working on it, and he's progressing really quickly. So that's great, because after I get there, we record the lessons for JamPlay, and I get back home and I'm like, how was it? I don't know. Like, I didn't take my course, so I don't know how it turned out, you know? I'm hoping it went well. I did my best. And
Right.
I just know when my approach is just, I'm not that great at being super professional. I don't know. I have no filter. And when it comes to teaching somebody something, I genuinely want to inspire. I want people to be able to do this by themselves. And there's a lot of things out there to keep us feeling insecure, and me as well, even on the internet. Like, my partner got one bad comment that was like 5 paragraphs long from somebody about her album. And I'm like, don't let it get to you, because I've had videos basically go viral from like hate comments and stuff, because buy a drum set, stop hating on your guitar, and all these things. And it's hard to overlook. But then, you know, the lead guitarist from August Burns Red's like, that was awesome. And I'm like, there's the comment that matters to me. So you just have to pull through and not let the negative things discourage you, because it's all about what you can do and doing the best at what you can do, because there's a lot of things we can't do. Right. Some people are better at things than others. Like, I can't do a bar chord. I am almost 34 years old. I'm struggling with a bar chord still. I don't know. So, but I can take my other hand and tap like, on the guitar. And I'm like, that goes easy for me. So I kept progressing at the things that I'm good at. And every once in a while picking up, trying to dabble in things I'm not so good at, but letting them go when I've given up. I just will keep progressing at the things that I can do.
Yeah. Well, tell us, there are a lot of questions coming in about your metal background. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So I was never in metal bands or anything like that, but I'm from Indiana, and I had a lot of metal friends. And I feel like when you like metal music, you're surrounded by metal friends, and those are your people, because you're all like wearing your black clothes and doing your thing, and like other people don't get it. And there was an energy to metal. The people who don't understand metal are like, what are you, angry? And it's like, no, this gets me so excited and motivated and happy. The metal music I used to listen to was very Warped Tour realm, which is not a lot of like avid current metal fans realm. I liked the tight pants screamo stuff with like a lot of gent, and the obnoxious screaming. I loved it. Anything with a brie was gold for me. I don't know. I used to love metal. I currently don't really listen to a whole lot of metal, but I used to start mosh pits in my hometown, and I don't know. It was like nobody was moshing. Everyone's waiting for that one guy to shove somebody, and I was that guy. So I would just shove someone, and that's how a mosh pit starts.
Excellent. All right. Hey, so you're going to teach us.
I did get a bow to the nose, and that was enough for me. I was like, okay, my nose hurts real bad. I'm done moshing.
Right. So you're going to teach us your song, "Falling Out of Love," and first we're gonna see you perform it, and then we'll come back and you'll teach it to us. So, "Falling Out of Love," Amber Russell.
Great.
All right, that was Amber Russell with her tune Falling Out of Love. And now is the chance to learn some of that. So before you start teaching it, I want to, there we have, by the way, really amazing questions in the chat, which I think if we don't get to your question tonight, we're going to post on our blog, and we're also recording this show. So you'll find it there in the JamPlay blog later, which is blog.jamplay.com. Amber, tell us about your guitar.
So I play a Holland guitar. This is built by Gage Holland. It's not built in a factory. It's built by one man from start to finish. He actually has just completed my new guitar. I don't have it yet, but it's been in the process for over a year. And that, I mean, it takes a long time to build a guitar, but also with coronavirus, it was hard to get materials in and stuff. But this is, I might sound biased, but this is the best guitar I've ever played in my life. Like, I've had other guitars and I've worked with other companies, but I love this. This instrument has literally brought me to tears before. Just it needs nothing. I have a hard time figuring out what pickup systems to put into it, because the guitar sounds better than most pickup systems can reflect the natural tone of it. You know, I love this guitar so much. I'm really excited about my new one, but it's built by the same person, so I'm going to be just as happy with that one, you know. I've been with
Gage Holland, where's he located?
So he used to be in Portland. Him and his family bought a house in Montana, Livingston, Montana. So he's currently residing there, and I get to see all their fun family photos of exploring Montana. It's very beautiful and a lot of wilderness. But Gage, he's one of my really good friends. We talk on the phone maybe once a month or more sometimes. And we end up on the phone for like an hour. And I would say 30 minutes of it is talking music, and the rest is just talking about everything else. And it's such a unique relationship, because I have a lot of relationships with musicians and stuff, but this relationship with my guitar builder is very inspirational, because I'll have these really low moments where I'm like, what am I doing? Why do I even play guitar? And then he's like reminding me, like, I really liked your music, like your sound. That's why I wanted to work with you. And he's pulled me out of really dark places and kind of made me feel like I'm not so bad, I guess. You know, all musicians have these moments where you're like, I suck. Why do people even like anything I've ever done? You know, but he truly inspires me, and you know, he has to be as motivated as a musician. It's one guy that has to build these guitars, and he pays the attention to detail is flawless. And he's just an awesome guy. I don't know. I'm really lucky to, like, it's not just, oh, I have this great guitar builder. He's a great person, and I'm so lucky all across the board to be playing a Holland guitar. He apprenticed for a couple years in Quebec under Michael Greenfield, who builds guitars for like Andy McKee, and his guitars start out at like $70,000. They're insane, you know. I could never have a $70,000 guitar, but I love this guitar, and you could tell he learned from the best. It shows through the sound and the feel. Everything about this guitar is phenomenal. So I'm done bragging.
Yeah. Well, it sounds great. It sounds great. Hey, so you're going to teach us Falling Out of Love. And so maybe we just put the tuning back up on the screen, and then we'll go to Amber, get me out of the shot so everybody can see what Amber's playing, and take it away. Falling Out of Love.
Okay. So I'm going to double check my tuning while you guys are tuning your guitars, because it should be on the screen and I should be in tune. I'm just going to do a quick double check, because even if you're performing live, you should double check your tuning. I will not start a song if one of my strings are off, but I do have little breaks in some of the songs where I can actually adjust it and tune it mid-lesson. Anyway, so Falling Out of Love, I'm going to play through a section that I'm going to go over and do that very slowly, and then we'll discuss what's happening. So if you're still tuning your guitar, you're not missing out. I'm just going to briefly play the part that I'm going to go over for the lesson. Okay, so we're gonna do that section. We're gonna break it into 2 parts. So you've got your guitar tune. You like to give it a strum and make sure everything sounds right. And anytime you're picking up your guitar. So in the beginning, you're going to hammer on to the 5th fret on the 1st string. So after you hammer on, you're going to pull off, and then with your finger strike the string again to give it that double effect. Okay, so now we're going to basically be going down the strings. So you're going to go from the 1st string to the 2nd string to the 3rd string, except we're going to be in the 5th fret and then the 7th fret on the 2nd string. And then on the 3rd string, 5th fret. So it's going to go. And then down to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. It's hard to do slow. So when I was writing this song, I was basically just trying to find things that worked in the tuning I was in and bouncing notes off of the open strings. So that's why it kind of sounds bigger than it is. I'm doing 1 note at a time technically, but because of the strumming pattern, it gets fuller. So you're going to go hammer on. Everything with this hand will be a hammer on. So you're hammering on to the 5th fret, 7th fret on the next string, 5th fret, and then 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Okay. So as we're doing that, you're going to strike in between the 6th string and the 5th string. So one of the times you're going to start with the 6th string at the same time as the initial hammer on. So and then the 5th string. So you'll go back and forth between the 5th and 6th string as you're doing that round. So I'll do it again, and I'm going to slow it down. Here we go. Now the next part where I'm bringing the song back up to the beginning, we'll start here, and your first hammer on is going to be on the 3rd string and the 2nd fret. So you're hammering on to the 2nd fret and then the 3rd fret. And as you can see, in between every note that you hammer on, you strike the open string a second time. So it's going to be the note you're hammering on and then 2 opens. But the first open note is only from the pull off. So you're not striking the string twice. You're doing the pull off and then strike. So, oops. That's not right. 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret on the 2nd string. Hold on, I gotta remember how to play this song. Okay, so where we are, 3rd string, 2nd fret. Okay, so I'm going to start back at the beginning real quick. I'm getting ahead of myself. So from the beginning, we're starting our hammer on the 5th fret on the 1st string. You do it twice, and then the 5th string is the next one you strike. And then when you go back to the 6th string is when you start down at the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. So you're going to go from 2nd string or 2nd fret, 3rd string, 3rd fret, 3rd string, and then down to the 2nd fret on the 2nd string. And I think right there I don't strike the same string. I alternate between the 1st and 2nd. So hammer on to the 2nd string and the 2nd fret, pull off, and then strike the first string. So hammer on, pull off, strike. So now we're striking the first string as the second, or the only thing you're plucking with this hand at this point, and you're not using the same string like we were before. So now once we get to the 5th fret on the first string, as we're moving up, you switch to the open string being the second string. So second string, strike the first one. So as I'm doing that, you're striking the second string while you're hammering on the first string. So 5th fret. Okay, I'm going to go through all of that one more time really slowly. So that was all right. So before we got to that part, I struck the 5th string to end that verse, and then you would just do basically the intro. So 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th, 7th, 5th. So. Once you get used to it and you know you're only striking the string one time between those 3 notes, because don't forget the first note you're hearing is the pull off. So hammer on, pull off, strike. Okay, so I want to briefly go through the next part. I'm not sure how long these lessons can be, but I want to show you the bass line because that's the exciting part. So the next part we're going to do is the... I'm going to do that again. Hold on. So you already know that you're striking on the 3rd note. So now that we're using this hand, this is when it gets weird. You're going to do a hammer on the 5th string at the, what is that, the 8th fret. And you really want to hold on to it tight, because if you do it too light, you'll get a lot of rumbling in there. So you hammer onto that at the same time as the hammer on the 1st string. So the bass line goes, wait. That's not right at all. Okay, here we go. All right, so you're hammering on 8th fret, 5th string, and then after that you're going to the 6th string on the 9th fret, and then back to the 5th string at the 7th fret, same fret, 6th string, and then open. And the next time around you do the same thing. And then this time you just go down to the 7th fret on the 6th string, and then 7th fret, and then open. So the only thing that changes is the second time around you switch the pattern of these two. So the first time was, and then the second time is, and with this hand we'll be doing the same thing. So here we go. Okay, so as you're holding this note, I gotta remember to tell you, you're flicking. I have nails, acrylic nails, and I like to flick my ring finger. You find a comfortable place. I know I'm looking at the camera and it's all my fingers move, but I'm only striking it with the one next to my pinky. The other ones don't know how to think and they just do whatever that finger does. So that's why it looks like I'm strumming more fingers than I am. So hammer on the 5th fret or the 5th string at the 8th fret at the same time as our starting point. So you want to start with that. So over here you're going 1st string 5th fret, 2nd string 7th fret, then 3rd string 5th fret, and then up to the 7th fret on the same string. Okay, so I think you've got it down. This is being recorded, so you'll be able to come back and once you get these basics down, I think you'll be able to figure the rest out by ear. Producers are getting a hold of me. We don't have a whole lot of time, and I'm not the fastest teacher, but you gotta be patient with teaching. So I hope that was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, you can always email me or message me if you're really interested. If you're really trying to learn something, I would be happy to help. So that's what I've got for now for the lesson. Thank you.
All right. That was great. That was awesome. And listen, I know that the evil producers have cut her off. Oh no! But don't worry.
They crack me up. I love this. I just want to tell the audience that when we're in between scenes, they're back there being aviators, saying silly things.
Yes,
I love
they're
it.
like Delta 19, landing on runway 5 or whatever it is.
It keeps this so fun.
That's right.
I love it.
So, by the way, I want to just mention that this has been terrific to have you live doing your lesson on JamPlay, the course that you've done, which is quite extensive. I just want to pull up a screenshot of that because if people are thinking, oh my goodness, this is hard to digest, the reason that we have the JamPlay learning system is actually, if you take a look on the right, we have multiple cameras going with all angles. And not only that, but in the course, you very deliberately have these practice sessions where you do like, very slow tempos. And then we practice some more at higher tempos. And anyway, on JamPlay, you can always slow down the audio and video, and you can loop different sections, and we have all the tabs right there. So if people are like, oh my God, I didn't get a chance to learn this song, there's plenty of chance to learn Amber Russell at JamPlay. So just want to pitch for that.
Yeah.
Hey, so
it's definitely better to go to my actual course.
Right. Hey, so we have a few more minutes. We're gonna give away some more stuff. It's been a while since we give away. It was way back at the beginning of the show. It seems like it wasn't that long ago. But we have some winners. So we have a pedal. It's a preamp pedal for John Keeling. That's right. Congratulations, John. And we have 2 JamPlay Pro level memberships. Very happy to give those away to Rick Weeby. I don't know if I pronounced your name wrong. Sorry if I did. And Jasmine Ompafo. So congratulations to all the winners, and we'll be getting in touch with you and we'll be sending you that. And we also have stickers from Amber that we're going to be giving away and sending with the prize winners. Also, I want to mention Amber's website is Amber Russell Music with a Z, right? .com. Amber Russell Music. So more Amber is on there. And we have this has been so great. We're gonna listen to one more track. We do have Portland Dance back now, but Amber, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's just been terrific hanging out with you, and it's so inspiring. I love your play.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
And please come back.
Sorry.
We'll do more. We'll do more of these in 2021, and hopefully we'll get
I'll
to see
definitely
you
be
in person
back.
one of these days.
Yeah, again,
Excellent.
yeah. I will say I love everybody from JamPlay. Everybody is just so awesome and fun and funny, and it's been fun even having our like sound checks and stuff. You guys are so great, and it's just been great. I mean, all of this is because of you guys, and thank you for putting this together. This is just so cool.
Well, thanks for being our guest, and please come back again because we also love you. So now let's go to a track we mentioned at the beginning, Portland Dance. And Amber, if you just want to lead us into this track, maybe a little bit about the technique you were using on this particular track.
For Portland Dance, yeah.
Yes.
I really like Portland Dance. I would say this is the song in my chorus. It's called like, are we playing guitar or a piano? Because it's kind of like playing piano on the guitar, I guess, because it's very individual note. There are almost no chords in the whole song, and it was a lot of fun. I was actually trying to learn a Kaki King song, and I can't remember the name of the song, but there was like a free YouTube thing on it, and I learned the intro, and I was like, that's a really cool way of playing. I like it. And then I applied this technique that I learned trying to learn a Kaki King song into a tuning that I was already playing with, and just it started flowing out of me, and I just kept going with it. And I worked on it for a couple years, and my friend Nick Johnson, he was like in love with that song. And it's always exciting when one of your fellow musician friends are excited about one of your songs. And he just loved that song and was like, I would love to put a second guitar to that. And I'm like, dude, that would be really cool. So we've had a couple different times where like he's come to Portland or I've gone to Salt Lake City and we just jam, and he's a genius. Like he just no thought at all put this beautiful solo to the album. And then I met this guy Jimmy in Portland who's a videographer, and he's phenomenal, and he wanted to do a video. And Portland Dance, I know it's my like only main video out there, but it's my favorite one, and I think it is fun to play with your friends. So it's, you know, a great video with me and Nick Johnson. And now I can't like listen to that song without Nick Johnson's solo in it, because I really like what he applied to it, you know. But that whole video we shot in 4 locations within 2 or 3 hours, and you know, the videographer put it together and did a wonderful job. It was a beautiful day, and I love the video because it's in Portland and it looks like Portland, it feels like Portland. So I was really happy with the outcome for that video and that song.
Yeah.
So if you were interested in learning like other fingerstyle songs, I would suggest doing what I did. Like first, it starts with just finding those YouTube videos of artists you love and figuring out what you like about them and seeing if there's any way to buy their tabs or, you know, learn something in that style. Like fingerstyle is a broad term. All of us have different sounds. And
right.
if a lot of us are really close where we could hear a sound and be like, oh, that's an Adrian Belew tuning. Like that's a tuning he uses, or that's got his stank to it. You know, it's fun. But everybody's very different. And that's the beautiful thing of it, because you can't really compare each other to each other because it's different. That's like saying somebody's a better singer than another when one's a country singer and the other's is blues. I'm like, those are 2 different genres. You can't really level those. So there's so many free, I mean, there's some free a couple JamPlay lessons that I have on YouTube. You can go to Amber Russell JamPlay and they post a couple of free things. And any of your other artists, people that you admire, you can look it up on YouTube and just try to figure out what you like about the songs. And if you're dedicated enough, buy their tabs, learn their song. I mean, the best way to start creating and writing a new song is to learn a new song and something that's hard and scary, and it's going to take you a long time. It's exciting to take a song and, oh, I learned this in 2 hours. That's great. Sounds really easy. You know, songs take me a long time to learn because I'm using chords or techniques that I've never used before. And that can be a struggle, but the the gratitude you feel when you're done is irreplaceable. Like, it's going to take time to do great things. And yeah, so just figure out what it is that
So
inspires you.
people should just
like,
yeah, people should stick with it, not get discouraged. You know, everybody
Yeah.
has those days as musicians, even Amber Russell, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My Facebook was actually showing me memories of back when I was learning drifting. And I'm like, wow, I was bad. But it started there. And that took me months to learn. Like, some people tell me it took them a week. I always like to ask people how long it took them to learn it. Some people are a couple hours, 2 weeks. I was like, I think it took me a couple months because you don't have the muscle memory or anything. But I mean, that's another thing I would suggest. Go and Andy McKee, I think he has a 4-video tutorial on how to play drifting, and that's got your tapping, it's got overhand, and it's in dadgad, which isn't like the scariest tuning to transition to. But yeah, I would suggest definitely learning drifting. That's where most of us started.
Good
Doesn't
advice.
mean it's the easiest.
Good advice.
So producers are giving me some notes. I forgot about this. I wanted to talk about my nails. So I play steel string guitar, and the difference, there's steel string and there's nylon string. Nylon is for classical guitars, and a lot of classical guitarists will grow their nails out and have nails, and that works for nylon strings. It's a bit softer, but to pluck on steel strings, you really need, in my opinion, acrylic nails. My nails would be shredded if I tried to use natural nails on the guitar or on the steel strings. So you really want to get, if you're interested, I mean, you don't have to have nails. They do help me a lot with harmonics and things like that. But I mean, if you know Alan Gogol, you can look up his stuff. He doesn't have any nails, and he is the master of harmonics. So you don't need nails for harmonics. But they were asking about how I do my nails, and I go to different people all the time, and they're always really anxious and nervous because I don't want to color on them, and I'm only doing one hand, and it's confusing or something. But you just have them do acrylic nails. You want them to be somewhat long, but not too long. I always get my pointer finger the shortest because I do some tapping on that finger. A lot of people will do an angle, so sometimes they'll just have a tip off to the side so they can kind of bend their finger to execute a hammer on with their with tapping on the fretboard. But I just like mine to be short and round. I do still have an acrylic nail there, but this one is always the shortest, my pointer finger. And then my ring finger usually ends up being about the longest, but primarily these three will be similar in length. And I know some people that play with even longer nails. Khaki King, she'll have some really crazy long nails and she shreds. I just have to have mine at a happy medium. Some people have used those Alaska picks. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask about Khaki King. Have you ever been on the bill with her, or, do you get paired together on the bill and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was really exciting. Actually, January, before this whole pandemic mess, I was on the bill for the International Women of Fingerstyle performance at the House of Blues in Los Angeles, and Khaki King was headlining. And it was awesome because I was up there with all these fingerstyle women, and most of them we were already friends on Instagram or Facebook, and we chatted. And it was just so cool to share a stage with all these women. And Kaki's awesome. Afterwards, she started a WhatsApp chat room, and all the women of fingerstyle, we were just regularly chatting and updating each other with like our new music and what was going on. And my friend Allie Todd, she's from Scotland. She plays like Rodrigo Gabriela stuff, and she's played with them a few times. But she was always like showing us, I'm in Mexico hanging out with Rodrigo and Gabriela. And like, it was just really cool to see what everybody was doing. And I think she was doing some stuff with Brandi Carlile. I'm like, bro, that's so cool. I don't know. It was just great being still a part of this community. It wasn't just one night of fun. We were part of this WhatsApp chat for a while, but then it all kind of died off because it's been a long year. It's hard to keep socializing. I really haven't spoken with a lot of my musician friends this year because we're all just kind of trying to survive this the best we can,
Right. Yeah, and you got into your. Were you somewhere else before the pandemic started, and then you got in your RV and you escaped to Arizona, or how did you
Yes.
bring in the RV
So
picture?
we were in Portland, and I love Portland the way it was, but during the pandemic, you kind of go crazy. You kind of lose your mind a little bit and you can't travel, you can't fly anywhere. And we were paying a lot in rent. Um, and just, I was lacking inspiration. There was just, I mean, we all probably had lots of moments of just sheer boredom, and it was a struggle to get through that. So we decided, are we going to stay here and keep paying a lot of rent, or do we want to try something different? So we bought an RV and we renovated it, and it's definitely been inspirational. It's funny because there's been moments like a few months after we've been in the RV, we're like, I don't miss anything from that apartment. And we loved our apartment. I love that neighborhood. I love the apartment, great landlord, but it's a nice thing to be like, I don't miss anything. Like, we're not like, there was nothing. We had everything. We have everything. The only thing we miss now is space for us to both shred at the same time. And we both can't be shredding in the RV. It's just a really small space. So we'll probably be finding a house here in the next few months, but it is nice to be able to say, we can just go to Arizona right now and be snowbirds and have sunshine at least,
Right.
because it's cold. It's cold in most places. So it's nice to right now just have sunshine on us, and anything to keep the spirits up this year. I will take as much vitamin D as I can get.
Excellent. Hey, so let me ask you a question. Do you have another song in the tuning that you were just doing? If we're having some difficulty pulling up the Portland dance, so I'm just wondering if you want to play us out on a different track.
Okay, so I have one song that only one string is different, so I can do that one. I'm just double checking my tuning real quick. Okay, so I haven't played this one in a while, but I will be happy to play it. Just start now?
Yeah, what's the name of the track?
What you
what's
want me
the name
to
of the song?
Okay, so the song is called Staycation, so it's kind of perfect for quarantine and whatnot, because you're just kind of having a staycation. That's kind of our life right now, living in an RV in Arizona. It's staycation, basically.
Definitely.
Right, so
Excellent.
here we go.
And thanks for joining us for JamPlay Live. And thank you, Amber,
Absolutely,
for the time tonight. And check out Amber and thousands of other courses on jamplay.com. All right, play us out.
All right, here we go. Okay.